Web3 Gaming, the latest news, updates, and esports. This is YGG TV.
Hey guys, GM ladies and DGens, and welcome to the pilot episode of YGG TV.
Today we'll be bringing you the latest updates on what's happening in the Guild, Web3, and the Metaverse. My name is Luis Buenaventura.
And I am John Sedano, and this
is YGG TV. 2022 is a transition year for crypto and blockchain gaming. The industry is still young and we're still kind of learning a lot of lessons. The transition from Web 2 to Web 3 gaming is a crusade. The Metaverse is a journey, and gaming guilds are its building blocks. I've had the pleasure of knowing the founder of YGG, Gabby Dizon, for a little over a decade now, and he is indisputably one of the world's experts in the transition between Web 2 and Web 3 gaming. Gabby, do you want to tell us a little bit about your background and how you got started?
Sure. So I've been part of the game industry for 20 years now. Got started in the Philippines as a mobile game developer. And then in 2017, I got into crypto when I heard about smart contracts on Ethereum. We've been making game economies as part of the games that we've been developing for years now. And the idea that you can put real economies inside these video game economies sounded really exciting. So that's how I got into crypto. And then NFTs came out in late 2017, early 2018, and I started playing Axie in 2018. And that really got me into Web3 gaming.
Why don't you tell us about what those early days were like? The very, very early days of Axie in the Philippines.
Yeah, the early days were super experimental. Even within crypto, NFTs were seen as a very kind of fringe hobbyist thing, and there wasn't really much money in that space. So it was the people who were really experimenting with the technology, trying to figure out what it means to have NFT assets in the context of a game. And it was a lot of fun. When I got into Axie, there were less than 500 people in the community. And I met what people think are a lot of the OGs today.
When you say that, kind of, we are now in a Web3 gaming kind of world, like how does it actually differentiate from Web 2?
When you're playing a normal game, you're playing for the sheer enjoyment. You may spend tens, hundreds, thousands of hours. With Web3 gaming, that means that you're building towards assets that you can own in the game. And that's very important because if I'm spending all of my time inside video games, I want to have assets that have value for the effort that I put inside it.
Okay, so YGG has its own NFTs. Can you talk about what the roles of what the utilities of these NFTs are?
Sure. These NFTs are markers of a guild member's passage into the metaverse. So for example, we have the YGG Guild badge, and now there are different games that can scan your wallet and take a look at the badge and then represent YGG in some way when you go into a game. The Founders Coin is for our earliest supporters. So we dropped this for free early in 2020 when YGG was new. And now we've been airdropped a lot of different things, special items in games, exclusive NFTs to our YGG holders. And we've even dropped a book, Laurashin's Cryptopia.
Nice. We also have a rewards vault.
Yeah. Rewards Vault is where people can stake the tokens that they have and earn tokens from different games.
YGG is kind of a guild of guilds in the sense that we're kind of made up of other guilds. What would you say is the role of gaming guilds in this whole new space?
First of all, gaming guilds have existed for a long time. It could be as early as Ultima Online in the late 1990s, World of Warcraft in 2004. So the concept of guilds itself is not new. What's different is that guilds now have the ability to own assets that have value. So that's what YGG does. It owns assets that have value in different games, and then it attracts community to these games to improve and play games and improve the economy on them.
So what can we expect from YGG in 2023?
We're building a lot more on the reputational systems. We have the Guild Advancement Program, which we pioneered last year, in which players are playing different games and then get Soulbound Token achievement rewards when they finish these quests. And we're going to be expanding this more into the different universe of games that we're doing. We're also looking at a very heavy focus on esports, where last year we had a very successful Axie Open Manila tournament for Axie Infinity. And I think we'll be doing a lot more of this year.
Yeah, I mean, the Axie Open event was kind of a real highlight for YGG Pilipinas and kind of all of the folks that got involved there. What can you tell us about kind of the way the educational initiatives in YGG Pilipinas are panning out?
Yeah, education is very exciting. We have the Metaversity program, which will be expanding a lot more. This is our partnership with nas.io. And apart from the intro to Web3 classes that we have, we'll not only be doing more content for people to learn about, but people will also be earning their achievements when they finish these courses.
Right, so you can actually get your GAP badges from being a learner in the Metaversity,
Exactly.
which is pretty awesome. We're now a few years into the Web3 gaming phenomenon. What are some of the games that you're personally interested in?
So I'm very excited about My Pet Hooligan. I think the Carrot Gang is really great, and they're coming out with some great content this year. Also very excited about Digidaigaku. I didn't know I would be excited about waifu NFTs, but here we are. And Mighty Action Heroes is something that I'm also looking forward to playing as well.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Gabby.
All right, thank you.
It is undeniable that blockchain gaming opened up a lot of opportunities to earn while playing games. But a sustainability shift left guilds to question how they will continue to add value to their players. As a leader in this space, we at YGG have been working tirelessly to provide alternative opportunities for our community despite 2022 being a slow year for blockchain games. Introducing the Guild Advancement Program, or better known as GAP. This is our in-house gamified rewards initiative that incentivizes the most active members of the community. Those who complete a certain set of achievements in the form of quests will be rewarded with soul-bound NFTs that carry YGG tokens that can be redeemed via the YGGD app. So simplified, our community members can earn rewards from participating in quests across different games in the YGG network. Previously, Axie Infinity rewarded its players with SLP tokens through daily tasks like playing a set number of games on a daily basis. So, the Guild Advancement Program is almost exactly the same, except that you have over 100 quests across over 60 games that you can join. The Guild Advancement Program is open to anyone, whether you're from a different guild or not, as long as you have the YGG Guild Badge. Available quests can be accessed through the YGG website dashboard at yieldguild.io. And in tangent, we have the YGG Reward Vaults, where YGG token holders who have a YGG Guild Badge can stake and earn rewards from our partnered games. Gamifying the reward structure within a guild is a good way to keep members engaged. The way these product development features were designed gives value to all stakeholders involved: the guild, the game, and most especially the players. The guild benefits from actions of the players, while players benefit from the game rewards won. And the game benefits from the new players in their economy. So if you want to join the Guild Advancement Program, make sure to check out our videos on the YGG YouTube channel and make sure to get those guild badges minted. The global pandemic played a key role in blockchain gaming adoption, as everyone was forced to stay indoors due to health and safety risks. So, online communities formed and everyone was forced to interact through Zoom, Discord, or anywhere else in the metaverse. As good as that was for the industry, individuals still yearned for in-person interactions, and when health restrictions started to ease up, people couldn't wait to reconnect face-to-face. Friendships made online could now follow through in real life. And here with us today in the studio is someone who has first-hand experience with Web3 events in the country, the one and only the head of operations for YGG Philippines, Kat Gonzalez. How are you doing, Kat?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm great, and yeah, thank you for making it here today. We're excited to talk about the very recent success of all the events, not just one, but numerous events that you personally handled yourself for YGG Philippines, right?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, there are quite a few in 2022. And it's been great to kind of have those in-person IRL experiences with the community.
Of course, but I mean, before we even get there, like I definitely would love to hear about how you got here. How did you start out with YGG Philippines? Like, where did this all come from?
I've been in the Philippine blockchain community since around 2018. And I used to go to all the meetups every week, and I met some of the people that we're working with today, like Gabby, Colin, Luis, to name a few. And then I just kind of was following what they were doing, and yeah, that's how I kind of heard about YGG, and eventually Luis approached me to join as well.
Awesome, but I mean, like not really everyone knows that you have had a very interesting, background in terms of the industry you came from. You actually came from traditional banking, Union Bank, right? So, how was that? How was that transition for you?
It's quite interesting because like in a bank, you really have to work around, like even if I was part of the fintech group, so the more innovative side of the bank, even though we were in the innovation side, we really had to work around certain like, I guess, boundaries as well. But in Web3, it's like a blue ocean, so many things are happening. You're not just, pigeonholed into one thing. And I find that that's super exciting because like every day can be different, right?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it really comes to show, like, especially with one of the first events that you've actually produced for YGGPH, which is the YGG Philippines Roadshow, which happened in Baguio early in 2021, right? So, yeah, I mean, how was the thought process for this? Like, you're used to traditional banking, and now you have to throw one of the first, physical Web3 events at that time.
Yeah, it was really cool because I think that's a great experience of how the community is so vibrant outside of Metro Manila. We got to meet people who might not have been able to attend like meetups in person here in Manila, and kind of bring to them their idols, like the people that they look up to in the industry, bring some education, some learning as well for them, and then kind of did a tournament as well, which was a very large tournament for at the time, right, for Baguio. So yeah, it was good to meet people on the ground, and I think for me it was also a learning experience because I saw the excitement, and it kind of motivated me as well to do more, right, in the event scene, to bring that experience in other places.
Yeah, I mean, it's it's pretty exciting, getting to see people, just getting back out there. Most of the gamers in the Philippines who are in this space started with Axie. And like I could say that the rapid growth of Axie Infinity was due to the conditions of the pandemic, right? And yeah, it was pretty exciting for the people setting foot in the event for the first time, and they came from Axie, but now we were able to introduce to them like all these other games like Cyball, Thetan Arena, even Fancy Birds, right? So and all of these projects are under the YGG flag.
Yep.
And we can only expect like these kinds of events not only just to keep happening in the next months or even the next few years, but also at scale. Like we're gonna be doing bigger events, which as we've seen just very recently, the Philippine Web3 Festival. So how was that for you? That was pretty crazy.
Yeah, I mean, it was great because I think it met the objectives that we wanted to achieve. So we wanted to kind of bring international personalities, thought leaders, innovators in this space for the Philippines, and kind of get them to see what they've been hearing about for a while, right? About the Philippines being like the epicenter of Web3 adoption, NFT ownership is super high. That was good that we were able to kind of give them that first-hand experience. But then also for our own Filipino community, right? They probably haven't been out of the country to attend some of these conferences and meet these people. So they were able to like kind of brush elbows with them, have conversations with them, network, learn from them as well. And I think that's super valuable. So that was awesome. And we had like 2,000 people. It was, a week-long event. We had a hackathon, a tournament as well, and a ton of other side events. So it was really great for the community, really great for our space. And, we're looking to do even bigger than that, right? Hopefully in 2020, yeah.
And I mean, also on the other side of things, like the community being able to finally see what what a blockchain conference looks like, we actually also provided like a lot of opportunities for international projects like worldwide trying to get into the space, like in the Philippines. I mean, like we are a melting pot for talent in Web3, and Web3 games is pretty hot right now. I mean, we've had other conferences like all over the world where crypto and blockchain games are inching their way into the main stage of these conferences. I mean, we have the Tokyo Game Show just very recently as well, where YGG Japan had their own booth. Even one of our ecosystem partners through YGG Southeast Asia, one of their projects, DEA, the guys behind Play Mining, also even had their own, like, it's not just like your standard like 4x4 booth. Like these are big booths. These guys are investing in marketing their projects into like Web 2 games and Web 2 conferences. So I think there is a lot to say there. So Kat, like why is it important though? Like if I'm a project, like why do I have to be in a gaming conference? Like, I mean, let's say I'm Web 2 and then I want to go into Web 3. Like why do I have to have the best or the nicest booth? Like what impact does it have?
Yeah, so I was speaking to a lot of our sponsors. They gave me a lot of really good insight, right? So some of them wanted to like do conversions or get their word out there at the booths to meet people and tell them about their games, etc. And that's great, right? But then others also said that they were able to get feedback. They can help them improve or develop certain aspects of their game or their product, right? So there's a lot of things I think that as a brand, as a company, you can get from having a booth and meeting people, talking to people, getting feedback, learning, doing some conversions, some marketing. So yeah, a lot of things can come out of it.
I mean, like speaking about the learning process. So let's say for the team over at YGG Philippines, like what did you notice, or like what did you learn from the first ever Web3 conference in the country?
Yeah, I think we learned that we can do it, right? So this has never been done in the Philippines before, definitely not at this scale. We didn't have a ton of time to prepare, but I think like now that we're able to just do it, we got amazing support from so many Web3 companies and startups and partners as well. It makes us even more confident, right, to do the next one. And I think our team, super proud of them as well. Everybody really stepped up, gave like 200% to make it happen. So yeah, I think that's what I learned. I learned that we can definitely go even bigger next time, right?
For sure. Definitely something to watch out for. I mean, I don't mean to, like spoil it up a bit. Like we're hitting on, another event pretty soon, right? But, aside from another conference, do you guys consider continuing the YGG roadshows, or do you have any other projects with a similar nature that you are going to be pushing out for 2023?
Yeah, so one thing we really want to do is to do the roadshow concept, but at universities.
Nice.
So kind of looking at the students, those that are maybe going into the job market in the future, want to learn about Web3, what they could possibly do there as well. Yeah, it's going to be kind of like a crash course or a sneak peek into Metaversity, Web3 Metaversity, our online product, right? So we're going to have people speak there. Maybe we'll even do some hackathons at certain stops. So that's one thing to look out for next year.
So it sounds pretty exciting. Like one thing that I picked up from that is that, I'm being able to bring this new frontier to the doorsteps of the guys who will be engaging with this kind of technology like pretty soon when they when they graduate or when they start maybe even taking metaverse jobs or whatnot, and like having an educational foothold as early as now in all of these schools will definitely accelerate not only the growth for these individuals but also for the whole space as well. Imagine having fresh talent coming out of college already knowing what they want. And yeah, you have an abundance of talent that we could definitely use in the industry, right? And I think one of the other projects that we've also worked with, Acad Arena, is also also has the same approach, right? And one thing that I've noticed from one of their projects, which is also a gaming expo, Conquest 2022, right, last year, there were a lot of not only Philippine Web3 projects, but international Web3 projects as well, trying to get in. So there is already some sort of crossover happening. And it's good to see that there are Web2 projects inching slowly its way into Web3, and Web3 also, taking a step back, going back to the basics, and trying to build where it matters the most in a very important time, especially today in the conditions of the market, right? So, I mean, Kat, it's always a pleasure to be talking to you, and we are very excited. And yeah, I mean, we always have been working together with a lot of activations for YGGPH, and yeah, I mean, I couldn't be more stoked for everyone else to see what we have up our sleeve, right? So yeah, for everyone at home, make sure to check out the YGG Pilipinas Facebook page and their socials for any updates, because any alpha could be dropped anytime soon, and who knows, like maybe the next roadshow or the next campus tour will be happening in the next few weeks and the next few months. So, ladies and gentlemen, Kat Gonzalez.
Thank you.
Education is an important part of any industry. The more educated the members of a particular space are, the better they are at understanding what's actually going on in the ecosystem. This leads to less friction, which eventually leads to less time spent on arguing online and more time spent on actually developing the technology. The entire space benefits from knowledge sharing, as it can really accelerate the growth and development of Web3 by improving the productivity of the entire community. So, what is YGG's Web3 Metaversity? Firstly, this is a partnership between YGG and NAS Academy, the makers of NAS Daily. All of the members of the Web3 Metaversity community are actually able to access free educational content and can help them learn new skills that will get them through their Web3 journey. Our goal with our students is that they will be able to eventually forge their own careers within Web3 and the metaverse. So what do learners actually get with the Web3 Metaversity? First, they have an awesome Discord server where the students and instructors and coaches can all interact together in an informal and kind of laid-back fashion. There's also a really extensive video library where the learners can just kind of learn at their own pace. And of course, we have a lot of external educational resources that have been curated by the YGG and NAS Academy team. And most excitingly, there are weekly Zoom sessions with Metaversity instructors, which include folks like YGG co-founder Gabby Dizon, head of esports Mike Oveka, and myself also, where the students can actually interact directly with their instructors and actually ask them all of the hard questions that they need answers to. Having a solid foundation of knowledge better equips a person in doing a job for any organization. Creating a program that produces high quality and skilled participants helps organizations do better, which in turn helps the industry perform better. This initiative not only gives additional value to the YGG community, but to the Web3 industry as a whole.
FTX, one of the world's largest cryptocurrency exchanges, founded by then CEO Sam Bankman-Fried, filed for bankruptcy last year in November of 2022. So the event had a large impact on the overall ecosystem as Bitcoin, Ethereum, and other currencies saw its prices dip as the news started to unfold. We had the first-hand experience with this. So how did this happen, man?
Yeah, actually, this timeline is a pretty long one. It actually goes all the way back to 2019 when Binance actually made an investment in FTX. So there was actually a moment in time where Binance actually owned 20% of FTX. But of course, we know that both of these companies are actually direct competitors. I mean, they're both exchanges. As of July 2021, so this is now about a year and a half ago, SBF decided that he was going to buy out CZ from that 20% share. And because FTX had grown so large at this point, the price was $2 billion, right? And CZ of Binance decided that he was going to return the 20% of ownership in FTX in exchange for $2 billion in FTT, which is FTX's main token, and then BUSD and BNB. So there was like a couple of different cryptos there. But this is kind of the reason why Binance ended up with so much FTT under their control. It was because SBF paid them that in order to get the 20% of his company back. And what actually happened after this was, when Binance announced that they were going to, exchange that FTT for dollars or other fiat, the market kind of reacted really, really violently. And this was November of 2022 when this started happening.
Yeah, I mean, it's not the first time that we've seen, these kinds of stuff happen in this space. I mean, 2014, we've had, Mt. Gox with hacks and all of that. And, when the customers start to try and take out all of their money all at the same time, then it just spells disaster, right? We're looking at what's happening in FTX, like SBF, basically, he's in the Bahamas right now, possibly waiting extradition, facing a couple of fraud charges. What do you think is going to happen next?
We can make some comparisons about the seriousness of the charges, because we know that very recently there was another startup called Theranos that was had a very lengthy legal proceeding where the founder, Elizabeth Holmes, was charged with defrauding her investors. She is now sitting on about 8 to 10 years of jail time.
Yeah.
Comparatively, very small amount of dollars compared to what SBF did. So there's a very high likelihood that it could be much, much longer for him if it actually happens this way.
So from how I see it is that centralized exchanges, we actually use these because of ease of access, right? It's a lot easier, to trade our tokens, with minimal fees, and it just makes everything, a lot easier for everyone. But is there a problem with the CXs?
Well, I mean, I'll agree that they are the most convenient way to access these on-ramps and off-ramps into the crypto world, right? Going from fiat to crypto, crypto to fiat, and then kind of trading all around in between. There's nothing that is more convenient. Unfortunately, I think what we're missing is a better way to prove that our centralized exchanges actually are keeping our deposits on our behalf. So that's kind of what's missing. And following everything that's happened with FTX, where it turns out that they actually were not keeping their customers' funds, under lock and key, other exchanges have started to kind of publish this thing called a proof of reserves.
Yeah.
Binance did one, and Kraken has done one. There's a bunch of others. So they actually tell you how much Bitcoin or Ethereum or any other crypto they have on reserve, and in theory, that will tell you if, some of the funds are missing. I think that it's still an ongoing kind of story where we're trying to figure out exactly what the safest way to go about this is. Because I actually do think that there are pitfalls both in decentralized exchanges and in centralized ones. So we're kind of having to find this compromise where there's still the convenience factor, but at the same time, the customers feel safe.
Yeah, I mean, that's more of how far are you willing to bend, right? Is it, just being able to have full custody of all of your assets, or is it, being able to, use these or trade them with other tokens that you basically have to go through different apps and different platforms to go cross-chain, right? I mean, but maybe my next question for you, Luis, is how do you see this, affecting Web3 gaming?
Well, so, I mean, I can say very generally that the community's faith in crypto has really been shaken over the last couple of months, right? And unfortunately, it wasn't just FTX for us this year. It was also Luna. That feels like a lifetime ago, but that was only 6 months ago.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? And so that happened right next to each other. The Luna collapse and then the FTX collapse.
This year was something else.
Yeah, it was definitely something else. I mean, we grew very, very large, and then we grew quite small in the same kind of period. Yeah, and I think that what we need to work on now is to figure out how to get the community, or maybe the newest users, we need to figure out how to win their trust back.
Yeah.
And that's for all crypto platforms, not just the gaming part. Because the games, on one level, a game needs to be entertaining, it needs to be fun, the community has to be interested in it. But on the other level also, you need to know that when you make an investment in a Web3 game, your money is safe, right?
Yeah.
That's super important. So I think that's what we're going to have to kind of rebuild over the next year.
Gotcha. I mean, so getting onto that, I'm an avid follower of Crypto Day, your own newsletter, right? So for you guys at home, definitely check it out. But yeah, I mean, one of your latest articles, is about Binance. So the question is is Binance next? So what do you think about that?
Yeah, so actually, I do think that Binance is in a much better position than FTX ever was, because I think that for one thing, Binance doesn't lend
it's crypto. Like
I remember that video from him that
Yeah.
he says like, they're not in debt,
Yes.
they don't have any VC involvement and all of that.
Yeah. So whereas FTX was very much a, like they raised so much money, they lent and borrowed so much money. So there was a lot of cash movement. With Binance, they're a little bit more traditional in the sense that, whatever you deposit in Binance, it just stays that way. So I think that we're kind of in a better spot there. It should be useful to remember that Binance's reported revenues for 2021 was about $20 billion. So I think they're okay in terms of, like they're probably not doing $20 billion in revenue in 2022, but like in the past, they've done very well for themselves. So I think we're a little bit more safe there.
I mean, as CZ said, like we're financially okay, right?
Yeah. I wish I'd used a stronger word than okay. But I think people really need reassurance, right?
Yeah, I mean, at the very least, like he got the point across, and yeah, I mean, with all that you've said, so I really don't hope that we see like everyone else on Binance, just like scattering around, just trying to like look for the next place where maybe like put him in cold wallets, or maybe I don't know, like put him in the fiat or whatnot.
I mean, I generally still recommend that if you have a substantial amount of your life savings in an exchange, you should probably take it out.
I thought you were gonna say if you had a substantial amount of your life savings in a centralized exchange, it's already gone.
Oh my God. Well, fingers crossed that that's not something that we're gonna have to go through again in 2023. I really do recommend to folks that, the biggest part of your savings should not be in a centralized place. We're talking crypto here, so you've got options, cold wallets, paper wallets. Just keep them offline if you can, so that you've got your control. Kind of, it's yours, right? It's your bank, it's your thing. On the other hand, I also completely acknowledge that exchanges are really convenient. Yeah. So, if you have a certain amount of your funds that you want to be trading back and forth or whatever, then that's fine. You continue to use them. Just don't put all of it in one basket.
I mean, in terms of convenience, like I think you couldn't be more right. As a gamer, like mostly my involvement in this space is because of NFT gaming, right? So if not NFTs, like the native tokens of these projects, and it's definitely a lot easier to just have like whatever tokens that you're carrying like swapped across like in just one platform, right? I think in terms of the bad side of having that kind of like opportunity to be able to do that, there also is an overlap with maybe let's say FTX having all of their assets just on their side of things. Now like there was that temptation to be able to what, let's invest in this project, let's invest in Sol, let's invest in this game. Next time you check the charts, it's like you're 30% down, 70% down. So I mean, we really don't know how long this is going to be dragging out. We don't know if we're going to get refunded, just like Mt. Gox is just only like paying back their customers now. We don't know when Luis Buenaventura will finally take off the McDonald's hat. But yeah, I mean, we are optimistic that we are here for the same reasons. We are gamers at heart. We love the space, and we're gonna be just gonna be building, right?
Oh yeah, for sure. And like I said, like we always like to say, winter breeds winners, right? So we are in the middle of the deepest, coldest crypto winter that I've ever seen personally. I think that any company or any community that's able to kind of get over this slump is going to be way stronger. And we should remember also that, the 2018 crypto winter was when Binance itself was born or became really, really strong.
Gotcha,
so it's kind of these moments in time when these companies become the most established, and so I'm hoping that we'll get through this all together and we'll be having a much better story, kind of in a year's time.
Gotcha. I mean, bear market, it's when the legends are made, right?
Right. Oh yeah. Right.
I guess the FTX saga continues, Luis, and we can expect more and more news, especially from Crypto Day. But yeah, so how do we sign up? How do you get in touch? How do you get these updates from you?
Crypto Day is a free newsletter. I've been writing it for about a year and a half now, and it comes out every Saturday morning. All you have to do is go to cryptoday.live, and it's a free sign up. And
or if you're on Facebook, it's also there, right?
You can also follow me on Facebook. That's even easier, I guess, for the folks who don't use email anymore, all of those Gen Zers. Follow me on Facebook. It's just Hello Luis.
I've been reading Crypto Day for a while now, and it's only like 2-3 days ago that I actually signed up for the newsletter.
Oh really? Okay, so you definitely don't use email either.
Everyone at home, you heard it first from us, and we'll keep in touch. We'll let you guys know what happens next.
We love how blockchain technology is changing the world. But with what's currently happening in the market, crypto regulation is more uncertain than ever before. Each country has their own approach on how to adopt this new technology. But with the Philippines as a melting pot for innovation in Web3 gaming, we have an opportunity to show the world how to do it right. Together with us in the studio is Jeffrey Ian D., Assistant Secretary for the Department of Information and Communications Technology of the Philippines, to give us a clear picture of how the government plans to embrace the mass adoption of Web3. Jeff, welcome. Thank you for joining us. For the people who are not super familiar with what the DICT does and what its goals are, could you just maybe give us a quick primer of what it's supposed to be doing?
First, thank you for having us in the show, and it is my privilege to represent the Department of Information and Communications Technology. The DICT is one of the younger departments in the Republic of the Philippines. We're just 6 years old. Basically, we're your Chief Information Officer. So we take care of everything that has to do with information and communications, including regulation of telecommunications, of the entire telecommunications industry. Of course, the design, the build of the information communications infrastructure of the country, and more particularly in your interest is including the advice to financial regulators like the Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas or the Central Bank of the Philippines with regard to the use of technology in banking, including non-banking finance, like cryptocurrency, blockchain, cybersecurity as well is being handled by the Department of Information Communications.
So that means that the DICT does provide some guidance about the way that cryptocurrencies can be either taxed or regulated in the Philippines?
We give advice,
Yes.
but it's still the Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas
Okay.
and the Department of Finance who has more direct impact with regard to this particular thing.
Right.
But we do sit in the Digital Financial Inclusion Committee, chaired by the Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas and co-chaired by the National Economic Development Authority.
Okay. Would you say that the Philippine government has a stance or a position on Web3 and these technologies?
Well, let's talk about two things. First, Web3. Web3, of course, is we have a stand. We wanted to educate the people. We want people to know more about this upcoming technology, like blockchain, the freer web, as we would say, what Web3 is all about. We also want to train our people to be able to become employable in this particular industry. That's Web3. But at the heart of Web3 and one of the most important application of blockchain, which is cryptocurrency, I think we are one of the more liberal countries when it comes to
for sure.
adopting cryptocurrency, but we have a long way to go.
Okay. Would you say that there is a strategy for how you guys want to educate? Because you said that education was a really big part of your goals. Is there an educational strategy for the DICT for the Philippine mainstream when it comes to Web3?
Yes, there is. The DICT was mandated by the president just recently, about a few months ago, to provide training for upskilling and reskilling our workforce to adopt new technologies, which includes Web3, and also to provide scholarships.
Wow.
It was a direct order from the cabinet. The president also directed the DICT to interface with CHED, with DepEd, in strengthening the science and technology programs in order to include this digital information communications infrastructure.
Can you tell us a little bit more about what the 2023 roadmap might look like for the DICT? Is there some specific things, events, or activities that we can look forward to?
Well, the focus would be cybersecurity.
Okay.
Of course, still building the cyber capability, not only of the experts but also of the general population. Especially because there's a lot of scams through text, phishing attempts.
Yes.
We're still building our infrastructure. That we have a free Wi-Fi program that we're trying to build. The National Broadband Plan, which attempts to interconnect all 7,000 islands of the Philippines into one broadband highway.
Yeah.
I guess that's the summary of and digital inclusion, which includes making sure that every community, whether poor, whether the richer ones, are interconnected in the cyberspace.
For you personally, where would you like the Philippines to be 3 to 5 years from now in terms of, what you were talking about, digital inclusion and things like that? What do you think your own personal targets would be?
When you go outside, there's a lot of financial transactions that happen without actual cash or
Right.
cashless financial transaction. So as part of the digital financial inclusion, we would want to see Filipinos embracing more this cashless type of transaction. That means more trust into the system as well.
Right.
In the financial digital
Yeah.
transaction systems.
Yeah. Last question, I guess. This is just related to, I guess, we believe that the Web3, the metaverse actually opens up all sorts of interesting job opportunities for Filipinos. Like, do you guys have anything in your mind about like how you would potentially support those alternative kind of work?
Well, one is we're inviting everyone, especially you guys, to form your industry associations.
Yeah.
So that you can support us. The government does not have monopoly of information and knowledge and expertise, especially in this field. We need the help of the private sector.
Yeah.
I would like to see government as more of an enabler, while the private sector is more of the doer. No?
Yeah.
Because in terms of number, you're
Smart.
more than the government.
Yes, sure.
Plus, you're more exposed to what people really need, and we want your support. No, we need your support in this particular scheme. We're building a ICT academy in Valenzuela. We have a 2.4 hectare facility there.
Wow.
And apart from cybersecurity, I would like to invite your industry experts and associations to also help us build a curriculum targeting basic and intermediate skills with regard to Web3, blockchain, and cryptocurrency as well. And please join us and help us in building this learning ecosystem in our ICT Academy.
Wonderful. The next few months will determine the fate of the crypto industry. There are both good and bad sides to regulating a technology that is designed to be decentralized. So how far are we willing to bend? At this point, education is our strongest weapon. 2023 will possibly be a landmark for regulation worldwide. Mass adoption will continue, of course, as more real-world applications like crypto and Web3 games come about. And it is undeniable that the Philippines will be at its helm. The next few months will determine the fate of the crypto industry. There are both good and bad sides to regulating a technology that is designed to be decentralized. So, how far are we willing to bend? At this point, education is our strongest weapon. 2023 will possibly be a landmark for regulation worldwide. Mass adoption will continue as more real-world applications like crypto and Web3 games come about. And it is undeniable that the Philippines will be at its helm. Jeff, thanks so much for joining us. It was a pleasure talking to you, and we look forward to working with the DICT in 2023.
Thank you very much, Louis.
Thank you so much.
Popular blockchain game Axie Infinity has experienced a lot of ups and downs throughout 2022. And despite the bearish turn of events in the overall crypto market, Sky Mavis has continued to focus on gameplay experience and content as the team continues to build the game along with their loyal community. So, Luis, we've seen Axie Infinity since day one, and for the time this was the heart of the community of YGG. On the flip side of things, we know that the team has the community in mind. The priority is to push out a really good IP and a really good game that everyone will be playing for a long time. So the question I want to ask is, was there something really wrong with the economic model of Axie, or did the players actually break it? What do you think?
It's really important to remember that even according to the initial white paper of Axie Infinity, so this was the first thing they wrote back when the game wasn't even a thing yet, they actually did mention that they were always intending to use SLP as a way to incentivize new players to get into the space. Now, what happened was the incentive worked really well. Right? We saw, at its height, I think we saw 2.5 million players playing the game actively every day. Certainly, it's dropped a lot since then. I think we're looking at more like 5 to 700,000 on any given day, which is still not nothing. It still makes it kind of one of the largest Web3 games in the world, but it's certainly kind of a far cry from back then. I don't think there's necessarily anything wrong with using a token to incentivize activity and engagement. I think what happened was that there was just a little bit too much of it, and kind of as we've seen with the SLP price, it's actually dropped quite a bit from just even the start of 2022 to kind of December of 2022. The drop was pretty significant.
Yeah, and I mean, at the same time, the bear market started, so it's basically a double whammy to the whole ecosystem in general. But for me, Luis, as a player, I've always loved Axie Infinity, and like the daily rewards, the daily quests. I mean, it worked. Like let's not take that out of the conversation. Like it definitely worked. They were able to bring in more and more players. But like one thing that I personally, think we can't avoid is people that will try to exploit the game. Like there were videos of bot farms,
right?
There were videos of maybe like even like programs that can predict the cards of your opponent,
right? Yeah.
So I mean, it happens everywhere. Like since ever since games were created, like from
there will always be cheaters.
Exactly. I mean, I wouldn't say these are Easter eggs that devs actually put there on purpose for us to find and get surprises out of it. But for Sky Mavis, which is and it's still very early stages, like I think it's hard to keep up when basically it's your team against the world, right?
That's true.
And I mean, I don't blame them. And I actually, I want to give props to the team of Axie Infinity for focusing on actually building out the IP. And, not to mention all of the other projects, all of the other programs, all the other syncs that they've been pushing out throughout 2022. Their only goal right now is to keep the community alive, and we've seen that huge of an initiative with AxieCon 2022.
Yeah.
And what do you think? Like I wasn't there, but it just came to show how these community members actually would go out of their way to support a game that they started with.
Yeah. I mean, like AxieCon was a really great reminder that the community is still there, right? I mean, even if a lot of the Filipino players could not make it out to Barcelona, many people wanted to go for sure. And like a lot of people were kind of yearning to be able to attend what was the last big version 2 tournament, right? And that was the last one. And then after that, every tournament for Axie was going to be version 3 or Origins. So that was kind of a really nice kind of way to bookend, that era of Axie Infinity. And we're kind of in a new phase right now. People like to say that, Axie's day is over.
Yeah.
I think that, for a lot of, I use this analogy a lot. It took Microsoft 3 attempts before they got to the Xbox 360. And so like not everyone gets it right the first time. In fact, very few people get it right the first time. You've got 2 major problems there. One is you have to design a game that's great and fun and competitive, and the other is you have to design a token economics model that actually makes sense and is sustainable. Both of those 2 things are hard, so doing them together for a single platform makes it even way harder. So I mean, their job is very difficult.
I mean, I'd say like they did it once, so what's stopping them from actually like pulling it off again, right? I mean, in the right market conditions, I'm hopeful that we get to see a perfect balance between the players who are actually playing and also like let's say like guilds who are in it for the communities and actually like even adding a layer of social work. I think we're still very early. Definitely, I couldn't say that enough. I mean, it's a bit too cliche, but if we're looking at other games that have been building like let's say IPs as simple as I don't know like a Modern Warfare, Call of Duty, like these are like versions and versions away from what it was when it was first released.
Oh yeah.
And like during AxieCon, that's when we actually got a taste or finally officially launched Origins.
Yeah.
And now like we've seen our player base shift from casual gamers to actually guys who put in the time and effort and even take it up a notch and are now actually quote-unquote like professional
Oh, yeah.
Web3 esports player.
Yeah, and I think that's what you really want to hope for, because Web3 gaming, if it ever wants to be taken kind of as seriously as traditional gaming, you have to have a thriving esports scene with a real prize pool, with real professionals and real coaches all trying to kind of win, right? So I think for us, AxieCon was the kind of the milestone event, and then kind of just a couple months after that, we had Axie Open Manila, which was kind of another similarly prized kind of competition that had another 256 players participating in it, and it was not just Filipinos; it was like players from all over the world flying in.
We were both there. Like I've been telling everyone that it felt like the early days of Counter-Strike, when the esports, basically the esports department of Counter-Strike was starting to pop off. We've slowly been seeing individual teams come in their jerseys for the first time, and that actually happened just like a couple of weeks ago, right? I'm confident in what they're trying to do. Like esports, definitely, it says a lot that they actually put in 120k USD for the prize pool of YGG. Not to mention the tournament with MMG right after, which was another whopping 160k, right? So in that fact alone, we actually broke the record for the highest prize pool in Philippine history. In 1 week, we broke it twice.
Nice.
So that says a lot, and I should give props. I would say, like, everyone should give props to the team over at Axie Infinity, and actually like putting in that time and effort to actually go here and activate with us and actually host these events with us. It's definitely not a joke putting out that much money for your community to basically build itself in terms of esports. So not to mention that we almost forgot that Axie Infinity endured a 650 million hack last year as well.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, unfortunately, these things do happen. I don't want to downplay it like it was a small incident. It was certainly a large incident. But I guess maybe what I'll say there is that, for the people who are worried that it was some kind of flaw in blockchain technology itself, it was actually later proven through the investigation that it was actually social engineering. Where, kind of the hack actually started because of a software engineer within Axie Infinity that was fooled into believing that he was, kind of talking to a potential job recruiter. But it turns out that they were actually trying to, infiltrate his computer, and that was what was going on there. So, the blockchain itself is actually secure. It's just, unfortunately, the human component, not so much, which is sad. But, that's kind of the way it is. I think anytime stuff like this happens, security just across the board of any organization suddenly tightens up because you learn big lessons, right?
I mean, like, at first I thought everyone on LinkedIn was just extra friendly. Apparently they're trying to get access to to my MetaMask and my seed phrases. So that's a different story. But these are hiccups, and as you said, like, we don't want to downplay it. Like, $650 million is a huge amount. But then, like, these guys paid it back to the community in full. Took a while, but then overall, like, the Ronin Bridge was open again, and everyone was, back to their business as usual. But yeah, I mean, so Axie Infinity, what do you think these guys have up their sleeves for the next 2 or 3 years? Like, in your opinion?
So I think for me, a lot of game balance upgrades and updates is definitely on the cards. I'll also mention that, so my favorite competitive game of all time is StarCraft 2. That's been around for a good 15, 16 years. They released a new balance patch last week.
Really?
So there's still, even a game that is that old is still kind of rebalancing itself very regularly. I think with Axie Infinity Origins, we are going to be seeing a lot of that. We're going to see a lot more of these kind of side games that they're kind of building. Lots more community programs, creator programs, things like that. And then I guess a lot more esports activities, because like their esports grant is just kind of just getting rolling, and I assume we're gonna see a whole bunch of other ones, like major tournaments all around the world, because the Axie Infinity phenomenon is not just in the Philippines, it is in several other countries. I think the Philippines just happens to be the place where it is the hottest. But that doesn't mean that you're not gonna see tournaments in Latin America or other parts of Europe or elsewhere. So I'm very excited about 2023 for Sky Mavis and Axie Infinity.
I couldn't agree more. I mean, like, I myself, I think that Axie is a very powerful IP. I mean, there's always that kind of affinity gamers have with just aesthetics of the game. Games like Axie Infinity, right? Like, there's that attachment. Not only like do these like little cute monsters, like are make really good collectibles. But yeah, I mean, you use them for esports. I mean, I may be not the best, but then like at least in YGG we do have, you know, a very solid team led by Michael Becca.
Like, I think the YGG esports team, we call that the YGG elites. That these guys are gonna be really kicking ass this year because, I mean, honestly, like we're right in the thick of it when it comes to Web3 gaming, right? So this is kind of our domain. So in my opinion, should be our boys kind of winning those tournaments, right?
Definitely. I mean, for everyone at home listening, so the doors are open for YGG. We are looking for very talented players, not only in Axie Infinity, but for anything Web3 esports in general. And up next, we have one of YGG's homegrown talents, the one and only V. Miguel Gonzalez, or as everyone knows, VMG. How are you doing, man?
First of all, I would like to thank YGG for giving me an opportunity to have an interview with the one and only Boss Sedano.
Thank you.
Also,
always a pleasure.
I'm always happy to be here with the YGG fam. So.
Of course. I mean, yeah, you know, we're always happy that, you know, you get to always participate and you're always present in, you know, the milestones that we have in the community. But not many people actually have witnessed VMG's journey the way I did. So I remember when you started your page, VMG, you started with 0 followers, and it was a process. You started everything from scratch, and now you are at over 100,000 followers, if I'm not mistaken, right? Yes. Yeah, maybe not all of you guys even know that he's actually he started as a scholar for YGG.
Yep.
And from there, like his journey went on to competing in the arenas for Axie Infinity, and we even had one campaign in YGG where we were to award one of the scholar with the highest MMR in the arena for a specific season, and it was you who actually got that title. Yeah. And you were awarded with a YGG Founders coin, and at that time it costed around like 12 ETH, I'm not mistaken, right?
Yeah.
And so how's where's the Founders coin now? Have you sold it?
Actually, I still have the Founders coin. Marami nagtatanong bakit di mo binenta? Why haven't you sold it? Actually, I think that coin represents my love for YGG, our guild. Tsaka parang, I think I treat it as a possession, not something monetary, like for pride actually, because it was actually my first prize and my first season on Axie. Maganda naman yung naging domino effect kasi I've received a lot of opportunities from YGG, and all thanks to that coin, na-recognize ako.
That's great to hear, man. And you know, even the family, you know, the team, and even the fans that you've built within the community, like they are still here, they are still growing, and especially like shout outs to your co-content creators, the guys from the YGG PH All-Stars, right, that, you know, you work with almost on a day-to-day basis, and up to this day, you know, are still streaming Axie Infinity. Yeah. But, you know, mind me asking, so what made you actually decide that, you know, I want to stick with YGG?
Actually kasi I have originated in YGG. Yeah. Kumbaga sa NBA, idol ko si Curry. So si Curry from the start up to his peak, up to now, he's still with the same team. Yeah. And I want to follow that kind of footsteps. Kung saan ako nagsimula, I will reach my peak there and continue my success.
I mean, yeah, that says a lot, man. And, you know, at the same time, it's going to be like all of us at the same time on the way to the top, right? Yeah. And, you know, there have been a lot of projects like from your end that, you know, we are happy that you are carrying the YGG flag for those, right? But, you know, like I want to get to know like even the brand even more. So when you started with YGG, you basically were at 0 followers. So from that point, what was like your strategy? Like, I'm in a new community, you know, I have to make a name for myself here, I have to prove myself, but now getting to that 100K. So what were the first steps in growing your community?
Actually, when I started, I have one goal in mind, and that was to help new players na kakapasok lang sa Axie. I wanted to coach them, and that was my only goal. Pero as I was teaching a few people, they kept on requesting na you have to stream, we wanna see you play for hours, gumawa ka na ng page idol, and yun yung naging deciding factor ko para gawin tong VMG page. Yeah. And my journey with Axie and YGG, it helped me a lot on growing that community. And ayun, I have one goal in mind, and that is to educate my viewers.
Yep.
And that's how I kept growing.
That's good. I mean, you know, like even with what's happening right now in the market, so we are in, you know, we are in a bear market, and how do you actually deal with people in the community who you think like need your help in, you know, letting them learn more about what's really happening?
If we look at the history of crypto, parang normal lang talaga yung bear market. Like we are in a cycle. Parang buhay, di ba? Parang gulong, kumbaga, or roller coaster. There are ups and downs, and crypto is a part of it. Ang sinasabi ko lang palagi sa community ko is, since we are related to gaming, you have to enjoy the game first before you sacrifice everything para makapag-focus dyan. Kasi kapag nag-enjoy ka sa laro, everything will be a bonus eh.
Yeah.
So regarding the price of the tokens, the prizes, kung nag-enjoy sila sa ginagawa nila, mataas man or mababa, panalo sila dun.
Gotcha. And you know, I mean, did the bear market affect the way you created content in any way? Like, do you have a different style, or do you have a different strategy with the videos that you put out with your streams compared to before, and why?
Actually, yeah, because nung mataas pa yung market, I was just focusing on the entertainment side of gaming. Kumbaga, focus tayo sa content, funny clips. Pero nung nag-bear market na, I started transitioning more onto educational videos, such as, kumbaga kasi if you are a winner sa mga play-to-earn games, you get to earn more. So kahit bearish tayo ngayon, mataas pa rin yung makukuha mo in a way. So nandun nag-transition na I started doing strategic videos, especially my streams, and I think it was a good way of transitioning kasabay ng bear market.
Gotcha. And you know, I mean, educational content does go a long way. It doesn't necessarily have to fit into trends. Like, education will always be there, and you know, at any point in time, people will still be going back to these videos if they need help or if they need more information, right? But you know, so what do you expect from content in 2023? Like, how do you see, let's say, you and your friends, you know, entering this or continuing to grow in this space?
Yung content namin is mostly nakafocus sa Axie and crypto, and I think marami pa tayong di na-explore sa Web3 space. It's called space for a reason nga naman. So expansion is the first step, pero you have to still study the possible topics that we can do for content.
Yeah, so I mean, what would your advice be, let's say, for the guys who are just starting out? You know, like say they're following you on your page and they're like, you know what, like I want to be like VMG, I want to have that same growth, I want to have that same, you know, network of opportunities. Like, what would your advice be for these new guys?
First of all, wag kayong mag-focus sa numbers. Nakakasilo kasi yung numbers eh. You need to focus on your passion. Kumbaga, gusto ko ba itong ginagawa ko? Nag-e-enjoy ba ako? And that is the first step kapag pinasok mo to. The second step for me is you have to treat every follower like a friend. Hindi sila fans, hindi sila supporters. Kaibigan sila on where you build a relationship. And also, while building a relationship, you need to find your branding. You need to find your image. Should I be myself? Should I create a character for the streams? So, hanapin mo yung niche mo. And once you figure that out, para sa akin kasi kapag nakabuo ka ng relationship, for example, with your first 5 viewers, it would just keep on growing from there. For example, these 5 viewers, sinare nila, may dumagdag na 5. Tapos nagustuhan nung 2 dun sa 5 na yun yung pinapakita mo. Parang talaga siya, literal na domino effect na they would just keep on sharing and may makakahanap ng sa tamang panlasa sa content.
Gotcha. But you know, from what I understand is that like these 5 initial followers that you've had, you know, quote unquote, they slowly grow into larger numbers, and slowly, you know, these guys come together as a community. And then now with the network that you have with, you know, over 1 million followers across all your pages, right? How do you manage such a big community?
I think one of the best ways is planning for the community, kasi nandito tayong mga creators para kumbaga maghain sa kanila. So I actually plan months ahead for every things that I'm going to release. For example, request nila, they want a merch, they want new videos regarding this, they want a review on this game. Pinaplano ko siya isa-isa, kumbaga give the people what they want and what they need. Tapos pwede ka rin mag-sprinkle ng mga extra dyan.
For sure, gotcha. And I mean, you're quite experienced, right? From the way you talk and with all the insights that you have. I don't think like this is the first time you've been doing this. So have you been able to be part of bigger communities before outside of YGG?
Before, nung sa previous career ko, nag-workshop ako, so I get to spend time with other types of people. Aside from workshops, yung mga trabaho din, ganun.
I mean, that's really good because now like you have an existing community, let's say outside Web3, that you're bringing into the space. So technically, you are onboarding people in Web3, and with the constant content that you put out, sooner than later, these guys will be curious enough and like what games is VMG actually playing. And I think that in itself is very, very valuable. And yeah, I definitely think that you are on the right path, and I'm really excited to see more content from you. Definitely VMG. But I mean, yeah. But before you go, like, so what do you think is education? The focus of any community that wants to build out and have a solid foundation.
So education, I think education is power, because with the right kind of education, you can influence others to share your knowledge to them. Kapag nakapag-share ka ng kaalaman sa isang tao, they also gain that power na pwede rin nilang i-share to. So with the right type of education, positive things can happen to a lot of people.
Awesome. And VMG, so I'm pretty excited of what you have for everyone for this year. So can you share with us like any plans, or what can we expect from VMG in 2023?
2023. So 2023 is a year of level up for me. I want to create a clothing line na gaming related pa rin. I want to expand my Web3 content. I want to attend more community meetups, be more active, and stay connected with the Web3 community. Kasi yun yung medyo I think I lack. Kasi nakafocus ako sa Filipino community only. Tapos na I figured na ang laki din pala ng community sa Twitter, international community, and isa yun sa mga goals ko.
Gotcha, totally understand. And like everyone at home who's watching, and if any of you guys are aspiring content creators, like definitely check out VMG or V Miguel Gonzalez. Like this guy knows his stuff, and yeah, he's a day one homegrown Yield Guild Games content creator and talent, and we are gonna be seeing a lot more from this guy. So yeah, stay tuned.
The past year tested the imagination of gaming guilds and the greater community and forced them to be creative in order to flourish in the metaverse. With all these adjustments that have been made during this bear market, it is exciting to see what's in store for Web3 in 2023.
Make sure to always tune in to Yield Guild Games for the latest news and updates of what's happening in YGG and in Web3 gaming. Once again, my name is John Sedano from Media and Community Marketing.
And I'm Luis Buenaventura from YGG Pilipinas, and this is
YGG TV.